It's Ethan. Happy to be here tonight. I am fired up for this topic. I'm the easy coach. I have to manage a few different windows here to be able to look at the resumes we're going to talk about. I have the first one up we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. But I got to say, I am excited. Thank you all for being here late tonight. I know we have someone in from Hamburg. That's Rex in chat. The Rex 243. Have to give him an early shout out. It's got to be what, 9 hours ahead, so like 5 a.m. I don't know what he does, but God bless him. So I have a whole list of stuff I want to talk about, but we're mostly tonight going to do resume review. I have 6 resumes from every possible walk of life. We're going to talk about them all. We're going to go through them in detail. They'll be here on the screen right there. The Q&A widget should be up. You can enter questions, talk about that. If you don't know how to use it, you should see the question and answer widget. You put in a question either on the web or on mobile. It shows up to my moderators. If it's on topic, they approve it. We hold off-topic questions to the end, and they take care of everything. If you want to upvote somebody else's question, you can do that so I know what to answer. Our format tonight is we're going to do some resumes. And then we'll take questions on each resume, and then we'll go to the next one. This should be a fun night, and we have good news to share that's going to be part of a tradition. But before we get into that, all the people whose resumes I'm reviewing tonight, I believe, are watching. So they're all in chat with you. And they're all there looking for feedback. So some of them are there by name, some of them are anonymous, and that's okay. But if you have thoughts about their resumes, try to be nice and helpful. Channel your inner Simon Cowell somewhere else. Get to the helpful side of the judges. But go ahead and give them your feedback too, because they're here trying to improve their resumes. And they're doing it so they can get jobs. So, have fun. That said, the first resume you see up belongs to Kevin. Kevin was on my show about a month ago. If you haven't seen it, it's on our YouTube channel. The mods will put up the link to our YouTube channel if you haven't subbed yet. And so what we're going to do is celebrate, because Kevin had been looking for a job for a year. He took the leap to be the first person to come on the Easy Coach and let me coach him here in front of all of you, and to do that live. And that takes guts to come out and let someone else talk about your career and about your challenges in front of a live audience that then goes on YouTube and is there forever. But we made Kevin look good, and Kevin's now celebrating he's got a new job. And he signed his offer, and he started July 8th. And we're going to look at the resume he used to get it done. And so this resume, which is on the screen, and I'm going to scroll down for everybody, is his master copy. And so what he does here is he has a 2-page resume that has all of his different sections. And then he draws off of this in order to make subsections. So I think that's pretty smart. Now, to be fair, I have his resume right here, and I've started to bleed red ink on it, so I'm going to be referring to this. But look, we're going to switch to what he used to get his job. And the first thing I got to say is I'm going to critique this resume, but you really don't want to critique a resume that got somebody a job. Like, it can be improved, but he deserves props. He fought through it and has himself a new job. And we're going to talk about what he did. So what do I think of this resume? And I need to lean back to get my face out from behind it. What he did that I think worked, my mouse may be a little small, but you should be able to see it. What I think he did, it worked. I want to talk about this first because so many people mess it up. Every word he has here as he starts a bullet is an action word. It's a verb with an action of what he did. He owned it. He streamlined it. He delivered RFPs. He managed. He improved. He conducted. This is someone who gets shit done. That's the message a reviewer gets from this resume. And my guess is that's what got him the job. Now, you can also see his whole video. And I don't know if the mods who are on can hunt up his video either from the Easy Coach website post or from the YouTube channel, or someone in chat can do it. Can I make the resume bigger? We're at max zoom. Let me see what I can do about that. I see the request and I want everybody to be able to see it. So give me just one sec. We're going to do some on the fly changes if we can. All right, hold on. So I'm going to move myself over a little, and we're going to give the resume a lot more of center screen here. All right, chat, let me know if that's more readable. If you're on a mobile phone, you may have to see it in a web browser. Yeah, I could zoom it even more in a browser, that's true, but I want to be able to show a bunch of it. So anyway, hopefully that's much better. Thanks. Got it. Fantastic. So when questions start to come up, they'll be above my head, but we'll deal with that later. All right. What I think could be better. First, Kevin loves his tech, and he's got all this stuff up here showing his LinkedIn and his Instagram and his YouTube. And like, I got to honestly say, as a hiring manager, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Maybe he's hoping I'm going to open this live and click around to see all his social media. I got to say, I would take that out. It's not relevant. If I really want to track you down on social media, I'll start with Google and your name or where you're at. So I would personally take that out. The other thing, profile summary. I honestly skipped right over this. People don't read. People don't read very much, and I just skimmed right over this to what did he do. If you wanted to put a summary, I would bullet it. People read bullets. Another thing you can do to this resume is put bold words in it. Those pop. So if I wanted to do the summary and get people to spin, I'm leaning into the picture now. If I wanted to get people to read some of the summary, I would pick something like 12 plus years working, or 12 plus years, or mission critical problems, and I would bold that to draw people's eyes. Remember, the average resume is skimmed for maybe 30 seconds. Okay, so that's one thing. Next thing, he has a lot of numbers in here. So if you look at his very first bullet, which is fantastic, numbers equals facts. They're believable. They show credibility. So when he says, including 70 plus subsystems managing 4,180 control system signals, he might be making that up. I don't think so, knowing Kevin, but it sounds credible. It sounds like he's really doing this. Similarly, if you go to the first bullet down under application specialist in Western Canada, it's he says he's applied scientist polymath is Kevin. He's not making it up, is what he says in chat, which is great. But the point is, if you look at what he did at the Western Canada job here, again, it's got a lot of facts. An 8-person sales team, 25 product lines, 12 million of business, 200 customers. Like, you get the idea. This person has done real things. And so you want to believe in that. Now, the other thing I like he did is he went from his original resume, which is over here, and I showed you is 2 pages long. In this resume, is 1 page long. And so he got it pithy and got it really boiled down. Now, there's a couple other things I like he's done. Down here, I've said before, and it's not fair and it's not right, but it is true. If you went to school outside of the U.S., and you're trying to get a job in the US, or since we have folks in Germany, if you went to school outside of Germany and you're trying to get a job in Germany, or even if you're in Germany and you're trying to get a job here, nice. You've got to explain what the hell your university is, because nobody here knows anything about it. And so what Kevin did that's smart is he has this Innovative Student Project Award, top 10 undergrads at the national level. He's finding a way to pull out that your his school was real and had real standards, and that he did well in it. And I see the Rex 243, who is sitting in Hamburg, says it's a good tip. Yes, in Europe, at least in Germany, they have something called a diploma. Well, nobody here knows what the hell a diploma is. It's BS, MS, PhD. Bullshit, more shit, piled higher and deeper. If it's not one of those three things, nobody here knows what it is. So you have to explain it. Now, is that right, fair, cultural appropriation? I don't care. I'm giving you facts. So, and so he's saying they now use bachelor's and master's. So American culture has invaded Germany. What a surprise. So look, Kevin's resume is strong. The things I like about it most, it's number packed, and it's relentless on the action words. The things I'd change, as you heard, are up here at the top. I would change, particularly I'd make the profile summary pop more somehow. It doesn't have anything it doesn't have any of the things I'm talking about. It doesn't have the action words. It has very few numbers. That said, if anybody else has advice for him in chat, Kevin wants to have a good resume for the future. And so by all means, yeah, so the BS, MS, PhD is my father. My father was a PhD, and he's the one who taught me bullshit, more shit, piled higher and deeper. So we'll check real quick, and we'll see what we have for questions. So we don't have any questions with more than 2 votes. I'm going to move on for now because we got 70 viewers, and nobody's voted more than 2 votes for any given question. So I don't mind answering these questions I see here, but they aren't the key questions people must have. And so I'm going to go to a resume that's got more challenges than Kevin's, so that we can talk about one that's got problems, more problems. And then I bet the questions will come in. So let's flip over. And I believe, in fact, I know this person's here watching. I'm going to give a lot of feedback on this. Please don't be upset. It's all to help. So cover letter first. This person wanted to be anonymous, so she anonymized her resume. I'm going to call her China so I can have a way to refer to that. And the reason is, when you see her resume, she chose to identify herself as a Chinese female. So we're going to call her China. So welcome, China. Thank you for sending this in. So here's the thing. This cover letter has a lot of good data in it, but I'm going to do this slowly so you all get the point. We're still going. We're still going. We're on page 2. We're still going. This goes in the dustbin, unfortunately. It's full of good data. People barely read cover letters at all. Yeah, someone says in chat, it's too damn long. Unfortunately, that's true. It's much too long. And we're going to get to another cover letter later in the session that's shorter, but not enough shorter. First, if you want people to read it, 1 paragraph, maybe 2. Second, don't count on anybody to read the cover letter. They might, but they probably won't. Third, make the points that are hyper relevant to the company you're writing. You're not going to sell them. This cover letter is an attempt to do your whole interview in a cover letter. And it's not going to happen. Look, this is something I should have said. Resumes have exactly 1 point. And that point is to get you the interview. They have no other point. Resume has no other point than to get an interview. Cover letter has really no other point than to get them to read your resume. So the best cover letter might say, read my resume and I'll give you $10. Maybe not. But seriously, it's just to get people to read the resume and to consider you. You can't make your huge case in it. You're describing why you're relevant to that company, and this is important. People like to hear about why you're interested in them. And so, really, what you want to have in this is where you have this, please accept my application. Sure, they're going to accept it or not. Who cares? The point is, you're trying to say, I want to come to your company for this reason. I'm interested in your company for this reason. Now, hopefully you all can see this. The other thing I want to call out, I'm not going to tear apart this cover letter because I'm basically just throwing the whole thing away. I think it needs to be much shorter, but make believable claims. In the modern world, and I happen to know China's seeking a job in San Francisco, nobody believes that you're going to stay anywhere for 15 years. I have been at Amazon almost 15 years, and in all of Amazon, which is 600,000 people, there are only 2,500 people left of those 600,000 that have been there longer than me, and only 500 in the Seattle office. That's approximate. So nobody stays anywhere 15 years except me, and nobody's going to believe that on the way in. They're expecting that you're going to be gone in 2 or 3 years. Doesn't mean you should be, doesn't mean you have to be, but don't sell stuff like that. Okay, what else? Do I have any more comments on the cover letter? Not really. It needs to be shorter. Let's go to the resume. And we're going to get busy here too. I'll hold it up for the camera. Lots of red. So let's flip over to it. So I have so many points to make here. Apologies if they're not all in order. I'm going to try and go top to bottom, and I'll try and highlight while I do it. So first off, oh, by the way, last time we were streaming, we lost the mic at some point. It died. If that happens again, just tell me in chat and we'll deal with it. We didn't have to restart the stream, but if we do, we'll restart it. First, China is a female Chinese. It's how she chose to identify, by the way. She did the editing. But the first thing I would say is the English way of saying this would be Chinese female. So the point of that is throughout the resume, you'll find a few things where her native tongue comes through. Well, I would try to get rid of that because you're writing to natural English speakers. And so I would have someone who is a native English speaker read through it and guide you to reorder words or anything that communicates that you're not a native speaker of English, which doesn't mean you're lying about being a native speaker of English. The point of a resume is to make it easy for me to read. And as soon as something pops out that I'm like, oh, must not speak English very well, I have, or must not write English very well, I have a problem. And yeah, somebody says, I can recommend the book, What Color's Your Parachute? It's Rex again. What Color's Your Parachute is on my book list. It's on the website in books, www.theeasycoach.com. And it's the best book on hunting a new job I know of. Anyway, we're going to go on from this because I realize she edited this quickly, and so I'm not going to pick on it, but there are some places the language shows up. If you're not a native speaker of English, have someone who is read your resume for you and correct it. Okay. Still going from the top, China wrote me a few things, and I want to answer the questions she wrote me off the top of my head here. First, her specialty, as you will see in the resume, is mergers and acquisitions, managing director of M&A, head of services and M&A. This is a powerful resume. You're going to see she's a super experienced, highly educated person. She's either willing to work in mergers and acquisitions in her next job, or she's interested in positions in strategy, finance, and program management. Now, something I've made the point before when I've talked to a few people, if you're looking to change roles, recruiters and hiring managers assume that you want to do what you've always done. And if you want to do something other than what you've always done, you have to tell me that. So I assume that you're trying to do what you already do. So if China only wants a job in M&A, no need to make any changes. But when you want to do something else, you got to spell it out. And this is where I would put an objective at the top. If you were applying for a strategy, finance, program management, or any other role, you got to tell people that. So I would have an objective for if I was applying for those. The second thing China asked me is she doesn't currently live, as you can see, she's in the East Coast of the USA and in Asia. So she's in two places at once, which is amazing, but someone just said she's a Harvard grad, so Harvard grads can do that. We'll talk more about Harvard grads in a second. But she asked me, should I quit my job? Because I've heard from people that to get a job in San Francisco, you have to be there to network locally, and it's not possible otherwise. That is the worst idea I have personally heard. If you could only, and it's whoever gave you the advice, I'm sure was well-intentioned, but if you aren't forced to quit a job before you can find a new one, don't. Because when you're unemployed, people wonder why you're unemployed. Gunya shall get to the skills section in a second. So I would never quit a job. And the second thing is she said she was told you couldn't get hired remotely. I don't know where that came from. I talk to people all over the US and sometimes the world looking for candidates every day. And we relocate people. I'm in the process of relocating someone. Someone at China's level would get relocated in a heartbeat by a company, lots of expenses paid. But my point is it's super common. We have a whole group that does nothing but manage relocating high-level employees. Now, we'll talk later. If you want a job in construction, if you want a job in something entry-level, yeah, you may have to move yourself there first because no one's going to relocate you across the country to do customer service and to answer phones or something like that. It's not going to happen. Big companies relocate you. Smaller companies don't. So, generally speaking, although I've been relocated by startups as well. All right, so that covers her questions. Keep your job. Use it. Use it as leverage. For a reader, the skills section doesn't get read very much. Chat says, and I get this, that it's good for search engines. Maybe. Most of those skills, though, should also already appear or be mentioned in your bullets. So what you're basically saying is I'm opening my resume for a human like me who's ultimately going to decide about it with a bunch of stuff that's optimized for SEO. And I wouldn't do that. Somebody asked, what do you mean relocating by a company? It means if she gets hired, the company will pay for her move. They'll pay to sell her house. They'll pay to move her stuff. They'll pay for corporate housing. That's what relocated by a company means. Okay. So look, let's go to the fun part. Somebody already talked about this. What I like about this resume, because so far I've said only critical things, is the Harvard University part. If you have the good luck to have gone to Harvard, stick that like she did in bold type right at the top. You've gone to potentially what is considered the foremost university on earth. Brag about it. So one of the people who helps me out on the channel also went to Harvard. And when she was looking for a job once, I said, let's assume her name was China. I would practically go to my interview and I would say, hello, Harvard. I'm Harvard, China, Harvard. It's that powerful. When you have an asset that's that powerful, make something of it. Someone else asked me in an interview how much experience at a great company would help you. So let's say I'd worked at Google. I would find a way, like in my objective, to put it right up front and say, look, my objective is to leverage the skills I learned at Google, um, leverage my skills I learned at Google to help other companies. I would find a way to sell that right away. All right, so not everybody's gone to Harvard, but China did, and that's fantastic. And she had a research fellowship. She's got multiple degrees, applied math, economics, and math. China's pretty smart. Like, I'm impressed already. Let's scroll down, though, and talk about some stuff here that's fun. So, in her current role, this is a big role, right? Managing Director of Mergers and Acquisition and Business Development. Now, normally, and by the way, most larger companies, I see some people in chat saying, "Well, just stick Harvard on your resume." We do check, and you might get away with claiming accreditation at a low-level job. For a job like this, they're going to run a background check, and then you're sunk. So I'd be careful. I've seen people fired for fudging their resume in the wrong way. Okay. Look, the thing I like here, right? She's got experience working in Asia. We'll skip to the bottom in a minute. She's got another golden skill, which is fluency in Mandarin. So the fluency in Mandarin is incredibly valuable around the world, and I would sell that. And so I'd be sure to try to put that. What's not in here, and I'm sorry it took me a minute to get to the point, nothing in here screams international experience other than the fact that obviously when this is written out, it says Acme Inc. and like Singapore or whatever. I would call out international experience somewhere in this because that's incredibly valuable. And I might even put that it's not up in the skills anywhere. I'd find a way to highlight international work experience, particularly because the China business economy is so hot right now. It says, chat says, what about other languages like French, for example? You can go ahead and put questions in the tool and we'll get to them in the order desired. Please put them in the extension and we'll upvote, downvote. Thank you for that. So let's keep going. But I would definitely highlight that international experience. Now, what else is missing here? There are no results or impact in here. So when we were talking about Kevin's resume a few minutes ago, and we were all about it, the words, everything started with an action word. Nothing here starts with an action word. Negotiating, kind of. Negotiating cross-border does talk a little bit to international, but there's no results and there's no impact. There's nothing in here that says what China has really done for her company that comes out of this. There's nothing that screams, I made a difference. Now we're going to get to where she does have some of those differences in her resume, but they're not up top. And this is a good place for me to make a point. The point of the resume is to get people to keep reading enough to interview you. So every line on your resume has to earn them keeping reading. I made this. Yup. You have to earn people reading on. So Harvard earns me reading on. Fortune 500, whatever the name is, it'd be recognizable, earns me reading on. Managing Director of Mergers and Acquisition and Business Development earns me reading on. What doesn't earn me reading on is then some of the rest of this. It's descriptive, but it's also a little happy talk. Happy talk doesn't get you anything. What's happy talk? Sourcing and executing mergers and acquisitions, parentheses M&A, while cultivating highly strategic partnerships to create vertically integrated capabilities and IP. I would make fun of this and say, what the hell does that mean? But the people reading a resume like this for M&A absolutely will know what it means. The problem is it doesn't say anything. It doesn't make a statement about the results that were accomplished. It's, well, I worked on M&A and I cultivating highly strategic partnerships. Who couldn't say that? How do I prove or disprove that? If I want to measure China on whether or not she cultivated highly strategic partnerships, how do I do that? A different way to say it is built a relationship with company foo and company bar, or signed a deal with, or acquired somebody. Those are outcomes and results. Now, she's only been there part of a year, maybe a full year. So let's go somewhere where she had a long time, 2013 to 2018. Head of services, M&A, and growth. So she was in the Midwest. I'm an Ohioan. We've talked about that before. So God bless the Midwest. It's why we're all somewhere else. But look, here they start to get some results. So she took out the numbers, and that's fine for this copy, but aimed at XX revenue growth to XX billion. Now we're starting to get specific. But still, we're missing key data because this says aimed at. Aimed at, does that mean you did it or not? What were the results? I'm going to hire somebody who gets results. Yeah, Awesome Dave. Awesome Dave's from Ohio like me, but I'll point out Awesome Dave's in Seattle with me too. So, let him answer for that in chat. We still don't have a lot of results here. Delivered a mandate. Invested in, defined and matured. I'm dying here for an accomplishment. What actually happened? Did you make my company money? Did you buy something? Did you sign something? I'm dying for something that got done. Invested in organic capabilities that accelerate existing service offerings for proprietary and competitor platforms. Unfortunately, anyone could write this about anything. I could write it about my job. You could write it about any industry. You got to take this stuff out and be specific. You want results. You want things. This is the thing. What job couldn't this be written about? My stepson works at McDonald's. He could probably say he invested in organic capabilities, that's hamburgers, that accelerate existing service offerings, that's cooking them on the grill so they can serve them, for proprietary and competing platforms. Well, that's a little tougher because he didn't sell them at Wendy's too. But my point is, this is very non-specific. It's happy talk. All right. Secured manager of data science applications. We'll keep going down here. Actually, I want to go back for a second. We do finally get to some results, and I've been given a lot of feedback. I've been critical so far. When we switch from M&A to data science and analytics, suddenly China has lots of actual firm results. Led and managed a global team of 50 data scientists. We get a number. X billion of operating cash in 2016. We get a number. Launched a product suite at the Air Show. This is something she did. Launched a product suite at the Air Show. Now we're specific. We're finally getting to things I know she did. That's what we're after. All right, booking on down here. So we won't spend too much more time on this because I've said a lot. The interesting thing is, again, in Portfolio Manager, it starts to sound really cool. Like I oversaw some number of billions in assets. Okay, that sounds hard. That sounds like you were really trusted. What it doesn't tell me is how did those do? And so here's another rule. If you don't And I didn't notice the cheer go by the way. Thank you, Benita, for the 1,000 bits. That's really appreciated. Those go to support our operation here and then the Washington Trails Association, the charity I'm a part of. It's also a good point, and chat will throw it out here um, for me. The mods will put it up. This is a good place to emphasize whenever I talk, and everybody knows this who's here a lot. I speak on my own behalf, not on behalf of Amazon and Twitch. But I review all these resumes. I probably reviewed 5,000 resumes between my previous career and Amazon. It's a lot. So look, here we have that she oversaw billions in assets, but I don't know if she lost it, right? So someone in chat, being a wise person, said, "Hey, I oversaw $5 billion, but I lost $3 billion." Well, of course, I doubt that's what China did. Remember the Harvard education, and she's very smart. But you're right to suspect that. If someone doesn't tell you what they did when it's obvious that it might be possible to say it, you suspect they screwed it up. And that's why it's not there. Because people are looking for reasons to throw resumes out. And that's sad, but true. All right, so we've kind of gotten through a lot of this, and I'm going to move on. I'm going to swap over to look at questions for a minute. Okay, we have some questions that are way upvoted. I'll take this first one real quick. Is the rule still a one-page resume, or is that not a thing with modern era and online forms? I don't think it's a thing. One-page resumes are great. I think China's resume that's 2 pages could be great. But what you don't want is a 5-page resume. It's the same thing. And by the way, China is ThinkPad Tai here in chat, and she's apparently happy with the review I did of her resume, even though it was firm. I want to say to her, by the way, thank you for sending it in, and thank you for appreciating the fact that I just spent, 20 minutes taking it apart. You have incredible experience. People should be falling over themselves to hire you in San Francisco. And if they're not, Terry, if they're not falling over themselves to hire you in San Francisco, I think if you change your resume and change your approach a little bit, they will be. And there's a couple people I could introduce you to that might be able to help. But if you can really back up what your resume says in an interview, you'll be in San Francisco, all expenses paid, very quickly. So we're going to jump on to the next question, and a ton of people voted for it. It'll pop up here in a second, which is, how do us plebes with no work experience get that first internship? Good question. If you have no work experience but you're looking for an internship, maybe you're in school. First, universities charge you a ton of money, and they have career placement centers and they have career fairs. Use the hell out of that. Second, go to your school, talk to employers, find out which ones have internship programs, and apply all over the place. Third, network and talk to previous interns. There should be people in the older class who intern places. They can recommend you in or tell you how to do it. So basically, if you're in your school, just like anywhere else, it's all about networking. Talk to previous interns, talk to the companies, learn how to apply, go through their systems, be early. There's a bunch of stuff you have to do, but you can do it and get the results you want. Now, if you're interning and you don't have a college to work through, or your career center isn't helping, the classic way to get an internship is go work for free. Even if that means flipping burgers at night while you do the internship in the day, you knock on doors and you talk to people and you say, look, I need experience. I'll give you my time. What can I do so that I can learn? I want to learn. I'll stay out of the way. I want to make an impact, but I need an opportunity. Can I work here for the summer? Is it possible to have an unpaid internship? I can support myself. Even if support myself means, again, you're going to work the nights at the burger joint. Now, you don't have to start there. You can shoot for a paid internship. But if you're not getting something, you need work experience. Look, work experience is easy. Go work. You can work somewhere for free. People generally will take free work as long as you have some skill. Now, if you have no skill in anything, you're probably not going to get an internship. That's where you got to go get some skills. So that's kind of the order of how I go about it. But if you're in school, go through school and use those resources. And the reason those companies, those universities, most of which are companies, by the way, will bust their butts to get you an internship is parents only pay for schools with high placement rates that get people good jobs, and alumni who get good jobs have tons of money to give back to the schools. So they want to place you. It's really important to them, and they'll kill themselves to get it done right. Let them do it for you. You got to do the work and interview well. Okay, I beat that to death. Let's go to the next question, and then we'll go back to resumes because it's going to be a long show tonight. So, how much do cover letters matter? And if it's a lot, what are some important things to having a good one? I personally have never read one for any of the people I've hired. So whoever asked this question answered their own question. Nobody reads them. They might get read by the recruiter. They might get read by really diligent hiring managers at small companies. To give you an example, I only get resumes through a system at Amazon. So the recruiter gets them, they put them in the system, they send them to me. There's no place for a cover letter. Even if the recruiter loved your cover letter, maybe, I never saw it. I can't see it. I have no idea you wrote it. So it's about as, I would spend 99% of your time on your resume and your skills and 1% on a cover letter, which I'd put in an email. The systems hate them and strip them out. I realize, by the way, that's the old way. Like in paper resumes, a nice cover letter on nice linen paper was the way it was done. And maybe if you're in a specialized field, like a lawyer, maybe it's expected. I don't know. Maybe there's certain fields where it's the practice. But at least in tech, I can't think of a time I've ever had a cover letter influence my decision. So we'll do one more question, and then we're headed to the next resume. So the next question is, what's the ideal number of bullet points one should put for each job? Should this number vary for current and past jobs? Yes and yes. So I don't know what an ideal number of bullets is. I have no idea. What I do know is that it shouldn't be too many, but the important thing is to tell your story. So if you're going to write long bullets, like China's resume that's here, has some longer bullets. They're multi-line. You're going to need fewer. We're going to see a resume in a bit where every bullet is one line. You can have a couple more. The key is drive to the point. What were you responsible for? What did you do? What results and value did you create? What skills did you learn? So that's what you're after. And if you can get that and spit it out, the quicker the better. Mark Twain is often cited as having said, if I'd have had more time, this letter would have been shorter. The point was, it doesn't take any brains at all to blather on, but I don't have time for it, so I go to the resume of the person who can explain it to me very briefly. And that's what you're after. So we're going to flip back to resumes, and let's see. Here we go. So the rest of this question was, should current and past jobs be longer or shorter? So how much you say has two factors in it. One factor is how recent is the job. People care about what you did now, not in 2002. Second thing is, though, if you've only been in your current job a year and you spent 5 years in the last job, you need to say more about those last 5 years than you say about the last year. Somebody says I have Marfan fingers. Well, maybe, but so did obviously Abraham Lincoln. So hopefully, if that's true, I'm in good company. Anyway, um, let's jump to a resume. We've covered bullet points, and I love the question. Keep voting up questions and putting them in to the question widget. I took all the ones with a ton of votes. We'll go back in a minute. Okay, so we had a great fun with China. Let's go to the complete other end of the spectrum. We're going to go from someone who's Harvard educated and trying to get a big banking job to someone we're going to call EA who's looking to be an executive assistant. Also, an incredibly valuable to me and to others position, but very different in the type of resume and skills you're trying to convey. So, this resume's got some great things and some challenges. Up here at the top, we have bilingual problem solver, which I think is a great opening statement. If I could say something right in the start of my resume, I've impressed people. Yeah, somebody says I like the blue on top. Color is not bad either. Anything that makes your resume stand out or pop is great. And I appreciate the people saying, please be polite. And we'll get the mods out if we have to. But bilingual problem solver conveys so much right away. It spits out this person knows 2 languages and it says they do something. That's incredible first 3 words of a resume right after the name and information they've taken off. They also intend to give very relevant facts up front. Email, phone, location, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a place to find out more about me. But I like how EA here has used space well to make her message stand out. Bilingual problem solver with an expertise in recruiting coordination and events and supporting multiple senior executives in fast-paced environments. That's an incredible claim with a huge amount piled into those first couple lines. We already talked about being a problem solver. She immediately asserts her expertise. She says, I can coordinate recruiting, I can do events, I can support multiple, so I'm good at multitasking, senior executives in fast-paced environments. There's a lot packed into this, and it stands out and it's in bold, so it actually gets read. Now you compare this, we go backwards here. This profile summary, Kevin, who got the job, and God bless him, that doesn't stand out. It's the same as everything. It's trapped, it's blobbed in, it doesn't stand out. So let's go to back here. Look, summary of qualifications. Now I have a couple of things to say here. I like this set of words. She spent 4 years developing grit. And that is powerful in a couple of ways. First, it's unusual words, and those catch eyes and make people think. If you're saying all the usual things about highly motivated achiever, blah, 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 nobody's listening. Developing grit makes me wonder. It also says she has a great vocabulary. These things matter when you're looking for an executive assistant. Highly ambiguous and fast-paced environment. Now, highly ambiguous is another bold claim. It's another I deal with difficult situations. So this is impressive so far. When I had read this resume to this point, I was thinking, I think she would do well at Amazon. We're going to get into some things that are problems, but at this point, I'm impressed. And since my boss is hiring a new EA, I was thinking, okay, where's this going? And we'll talk about that. We come on down here. We get into some words I don't like where they're not action words. The ability. I would try never to start a sentence with the. Ability, straight up. Ability to stay calm under pressure or composure under pressure would be stronger here. Again, the ability to become a. These are not powerful words. Trusted business partner to executives is the way to open that. Just delete all that stuff up front. If you open this bullet and say trusted business partner to executives demonstrating big picture thinking and ironclad discretion, wow. I want you on my team. I want you keeping secrets for me. Okay? Executives have things they can't share, but they need their EAs to know. And you want someone who makes this claim and stays with it. All right, now we're going to talk about something weird. Years of experience. I'm not sure this is the most important thing. And after all this great, powerful use of space up front, let's look at this section and how much time and space are put into things that don't matter. First, is years of experience a thing? Second, what's the biggest font here? It's a bunch of numbers. And by the way, basically all those numbers are the same. 5, 4.5 rounds up to 5. 4 is almost 5 in Ethan math. 5, but one stands out, 10. What's that about? Yeah, someone in chat says it looks like ratings. 10, I'm trying now, I have what's called cognitive dissonance. It says, whose resume is this? She may be here. We're calling her EA. She may not want to be identified. I don't actually know her handle. I believe everyone here is watching and they don't need to identify themselves, particularly when I'm giving critical feedback, even though I love the opening. What doesn't work for me here is how can you have 10 years of experience in Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, and only 5 years in everything else? I don't get it. And so now I'm confused and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I'm suspicious. And none of that is good for EA at this point. After a killer opening, I'm wondering what's going on here. Second, the numbers are the biggest thing. But that's not what's important. What you did or can do is important. Event planning and team morale, parentheses, 4 years. Yeah, it's a 5-year mystery story. And we're going to dig deeper into that, chat, because it is a 5-year mystery story. Domestic and international travel planning. Those are skills. Call out the skills. The years that you've done it, this is another good question. I'm going to be difficult here. When we interview, we're looking for people. We talk about the difference between someone who has 10 years of experience and someone who has 1 year of experience repeated 10 times. Well, a question in a case like this, did you really learn more about recruiting and interview coordination in year 5 or year 4? Or did you learn it all in year 1? And then telling me you've done it for 5 years, what am I supposed to take away from that? Maybe nothing bad, but I don't believe that someone who's coordinated interviews for 5 years is 5 times as good as someone who's done it for 1 year. So you want to make the point you have this experience, but this is way too much space for it. Okay, moving on. Now we get into some ouchy stuff. This may just be EA's reality, but it's going to violate the rule in the question we just asked about, which is how much to talk about your jobs. And I'm going to show you what I mean. Here's the ouchy part. This is a 3-month job. More to the point, it looks like that 3-month job is already over. That might not be true because I don't know how EA wrote the resume, but it's June now. And so this should say March 2019 to present if she's still employed, or March 29th to June 2019, sorry, not 29th, 2019, if she's still there. So what I'm thinking at this point is, wow, she got a job and lost it in 3 months. Not positive. After that tour de force opening, it's looking grim. Second thing, look at all this. In 3 months, we got 7 short bullets. Now the bullets are short, nothing wrong with that. But now we're going to scroll down real quick. Here, she was somewhere for 2 years. We got the same 7 bullets. So in 2 years, judging by how much time it was given, she did the same amount of work in 2 years and versus 3 months. Clearly false. We're going to keep going though. She was at that company really 2014 to 2018. Um, and, only 3 bullets here, again, a 2 year period. So my real point is there's an awful lot about this 1 3 month job. Now, maybe if those things were super impressive, that would be fantastic. But if they weren't super impressive, uh, and I haven't dug through them, I didn't decide whether each of those are impressive. But the space use is wrong, which was the question from earlier. So we'll keep moving because we had a lot more resumes to get through, and we're killing it so far. And these are fun. All right. You've all heard this already. I'll keep repeating it. Which of these, you can just ask yourself, which of these are strong openings? Process foundation expenses? Man, that sounds very low level. Opened, sorted, and distributed incoming mail. Now, we just talked about space. Oh my God. If you wanted to say, can I have fries with that? That's like saying that I was very low on the totem pole because I'm the mail sorter. Don't do that, right? You compare this bullet to the top bullet. Balanced 3 leaders' schedules, ensuring time was also allocated. Balancing 3 leaders' schedules, valuable. Opening, sorting, and distributing mail? Yeah, can I get a latte? I'd like it with 2 sugars. Like, you're just putting yourself in a unpowerful position. I don't know. Unpowerful is not a word. You tell me what it is. What I do like here is some of these selected contributions. Again, the use of space. We're going to go down. She was a virtual administrative assistant for a while. Now, again, I hate to see this on here, but it may be her reality. It's just not a strong role. Provided freelance professional administration. She makes the best of it and moves on. I would try and have some accomplishment or something you learned, though. I would try to have something here that you got out of it. For example, if you were doing this for a bunch of, learn to work remotely. Learned to multiple, I was supporting 7 different people on contracts. I would pull something out that I can see as a positive, as opposed to what I see, which is, oh shit, you were unemployed and this was the best you could do. Now look, I'm not being uncharitable. I am all for, if you need a job and you have to be entrepreneurial, you going out and getting a job and making work for yourself. I know we have Devin Nash here, who I'm going to be on his stream soon. Devin, I think, would say the same thing. He can chime in and chat if he wants. I'll be on his stream for a while Monday at 2 o'clock Pacific. But Devin would say, get a job and go do work. And this is where you do it. And so she did a good thing, not just sitting around idle. And we're going to get to that. Let me go down to the very bottom of a gem that's buried. By the way, this bad formatting is from me putting this in Google Docs. She had it exactly 2 pages. It prints as 2 pages. She actually has been working to improve herself. This is awesome. It's too bad it's buried at the bottom. I'd find some way to pull this up, and I might put it under virtual assistant and say took classes while working as a virtual assistant, because suddenly it sounds like that's my reason that I'm working as a virtual assistant. And yeah, I see all the Nash Nation fans there. That's awesome. Thank you all for coming. I hope you're getting good value for your no money. She was improving herself. She's working hard. And I love it. How do you get that up where I'll see it? Because I don't get to this point in the resume unless I've kept reading. And like I said earlier, every line in the resume has to earn me reading further. Another thing I like about this, it's a little funny, bilingual in Khmer, native language of Cambodia. She does the right thing here, which is explains that it's a native language of Cambodia, because I think most people, including me, might think that if you're from Cambodia, you speak Cambodian. And so she's at least explaining it and getting it right. Somebody says, how do I submit my terrible resume? We'll do one of these again sometime. It's obviously got a good audience. Devin Nash and I are talking about doing a combined resume teardown on his show sometime in the future. So we'll get back to you. But you'll see it. The answer to your question is follow our blog, www.theeasycoach.com, and we announce things like that there. And that's where you get it. Okay. Here's the thing I like, because I've been given a lot of negative feedback. I really like this use of space with key accomplishments and icons. I like the fact that she's calling out, I learned strategic planning, and it's in bold, a way I can't miss it. I learned event planning. I built this city EA community. This is back to the person who impressed the shit out of me in the opening. This is the powerful person who does things. This resume is Jekyll and Hydelda or something. Jekyll and Hyde. It's I don't know how to make that female. That was a fail. But look, this resume goes back and forth. It's Jekyll and Hyde so bad, from awesome to real opportunities for improvement. This section is awesome. It calls out what she did. It's very visual. The resume is good for visual appeal. It's good down here with key accomplishments and the recruiting wiki. I think the formatting where templates and scheduling is over there is because of my cut and paste. Look at this again. Juggling 6 to 8 calendars at once. This is someone who's very accomplished. Fix this resume up and you're going to get jobs quick. You got to take care of the problems. You've got so much in it that's good and so much in it that's sinking you. So I think you can get a job really quickly with the changes we've talked about. And so far, I'm really happy. I don't see anybody here who's going to have a hard time getting a job. Oh, harshness is why we watch you, Devin Nash. And I'm Devin with less yelling. I'll have to keep that in mind for when I go on his show on Monday. With less yelling. I've only ever heard him yell about Tesla. All right, let's move on. Let's swap over, see if we have any questions that are upvoted. All right, we're going to take this one. So mods, go ahead and pin this to the top. It's very long. About the professional website, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube links. If not the resume, how else could they be leveraged to showcase valuable skills or projects? If you want to get into product management, you want to show projects. In that case, I put them in the resume body. Even if I have to have a special section that says special projects and a big bold headliner that says, I do lots of creation outside of my day job. Make a section and call them out and link to the projects. Don't just give me icons to LinkedIn. And what, by the way, if you joined the stream late, let me pull it up here. What he's talking about is Kevin got a job, and that's awesome. And I'm super proud of Kevin for coming on the show and letting me critique him live and give him feedback. But he put all these icons at the top of his resume. These don't tell me, look, it might be he's got a bunch of project information behind some of this, but most of these are social. I don't expect to find a lot of value behind Instagram. I might find a lot of good art. I might find out all kinds of things I'm not supposed to know as an interviewer, like is he married or whatever. I'm not supposed to know any of that or care about any of it. These are basically dangerous to me as an interviewer. So going back to the question though, and we'll switch back to the resume we were on. Going back to the question where people want to highlight these skills, build a section and do it there. Talk about the projects you've had. All right, next resume, and then we'll get to later questions. This one's huge, but well, let's do the next question so we can clear this monster question off the top of my head, because it's literally on the top of my head in the video. So we'll do next one and hope it's shorter. All right, a short question. Should you use acronyms and abbreviations for industry standard terms, KPI, SCM, ROI? No. At least not at first, or not unless you're very sure that your reader's going to know them. Hold this question. We'll leave it up, but we're going to get to it later in a resume that does this poorly. And so actually, it's the very next resume. So let me just jump to that point on the resume and you'll see what I mean. So this resume is for a wonderful person who is serving in our armed forces. And thank you for your service. In case you don't know, our awesome Dave Mod plus David served 20 years in the United States Army. So shout out for the Army right here. Um, and what I want to say about this, though, is we'll talk a lot about this resume, but there are some things in it that I don't know what the hell they are, and that doesn't work. So, served as a master trainer for Team Steps. So, I'm the Team Steps master trainer. And STEPS is all uppercase, like it's an acronym. And then there's like must. There's all this stuff in here I don't understand. And so, I don't know how to read the resume. And from what I gathered from the email I got with this resume, our trainer here would like to move out of the Army, I think, into an industry job. So he's ready to leave the military and go into private sector. Well, private sector, unfortunately, doesn't know what you're talking about. And so sometimes he does the right thing where basic life support, we were talking about acronyms, you can do this, basic life support, BLS, and then you can use it all over the place. Oh, BLS, BLS, but I know what it is because you told me. So that's okay, but there's just a ton of stuff in here that isn't, I don't know what it is, and that's a problem. So we get down here at the bottom. I realize I jumped to the bottom, but it's only because of the question. We get Master Steps Trainer again, but there were other ones in here. Oh, right. The resume talks, and I'll go up to the top, about being a Master Resilience Trainer Level 1 and Level 2. This is, in fact, the main opening claim of the resume. So what do I learn? We'll come back to the top, but I learned, okay, what has trainer done here? I'm a Master Resilience Trainer. Well, the only thing this tells me is, I'm curious. I want to know what the hell that is. I actually thought this was training on like how to make people take criticism better until I figured out it must be something else. But when you're making a claim, this is his title, I guess, or role, but somehow you've got to explain it to others. And we're going to get to a point here. Lots of big companies have military transition groups. They have groups that handle hiring out of the military. Seek them out because they understand the relevance of your military experience, and I don't. And so I love our folks from the military, and I have a number of my team and direct reports who have been officers and enlisted personnel because I know they have work ethic. I know they deal with stress well. I know they won't freak out if on occasion I might speak loudly and very forcefully. That's one of my areas of improvement, but they've had worse. But those groups, and it's like Awesome Dave says here in chat, they can help match up what being a Master Resilience Trainer can mean in civilian life. Okay, let's see. Let's start from the top now that I jumped down. But the point is, with acronyms, you got to explain them or people don't know what they are. Now, in a tech field, like I don't think you have to explain what C++ is if you're applying as a software engineer, but generally explain acronyms. We'll leave that question up because it's nice and short, and we'll move on later. All right. Hopefully, everyone, I'm tempted to test chat on this. What is wrong with this section? Shout it out in chat. Let's have it. What's wrong with this section? I want to take a drink and rest my voice. Yep, it's too long. Wall of text, it's huge. Yep, okay. TLDR, exactly. Too long, didn't read. It's got some good things. Look, these are some great qualifications. Like the opening line is pretty strong. It needs a period. It's like a run-on sentence. But corporate trainer, licensed practical nurse, military veteran with a security clearance, awesome. 10 years of proven experience in doing all these things, awesome. Now it just becomes blah, 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 like lots of words, wall of words, and my brain is gone if I read that much. As someone else says, nothing stands out, nothing is bolded. If you do want to have this wall of text, you got to bold it. Somebody says, not enough anime. Yeah, that could be too. Um, all right, so this needs to be shorter, clean it up, make it bullets, do something else. Um, the bad formatting here is Google Docs. Don't blame Trainer for that. It's well formatted as 3 columns. It's okay. This is my point about make bullets. These are just like generic happy words, though. Cross-functional leadership, performance evaluations. I don't get a sense of what you're accomplishing here. Like what skills. They're very, most people could write them, I think. That they've done cross-functional leadership, that they've done, not all of them, but I would try and give a little more description. Fewer bullets, a little more meaning. Okay. I got on our EA candidate for saying that she sorted the mail. This is a word I would try and keep out of my resume unless I was looking for an entry-level position. Served as an entry-level training specialist. I had to say, I put in quotes here, what this says to me is pay me nothing. And that's not the message you want to send. Say something stronger. Served as first level. Well, served is not a strong word either, but, right? I would open this, trained 300 plus people in resilience and performance enhancement, blah, blah, blah. Trained is a strong word. Developed is a strong word. Served as an entry level anything is not strong. And then we get more stuff that's hard to follow. Gonna pick on 2 things here just to point them out. Identified as an excellent trainer. Well, that's good. How do I know? What's the proof? And there is a place, by the way, where a trainer has the proof. And let me see if I can find it again. Yeah. Here it is. So down here, here we have the proof. Site surveys by the whoever, something with a lot of letters, so it must be real and official. Sorry, I'm telling the truth of how we read resumes. That sounds official. I don't know what the Uniformed Services University of Health Sciences is. Uniformed Services must mean military. But anyway, it says site surveys by something sounding official because you put it in capital letters showed that the sites were the best in the nation, recognized as a training site of excellence. Now, yeah, okay. So somebody in chat says, by the way, let me see if I can find it again, is not a good sentence. But that's true. The facts are buried. The strongest stuff here is buried. The point is, though, this is a believable claim because you offer evidence. Even though I don't have access to these surveys and you could be lying, the truth is, here at least, I feel like facts. Trained, coached, mentored, and certified over 150 new instructors, and the surveys show it was excellent. Compare that to identified as an excellent trainer. Now, probably they're both true because the one claim sounds true as the other one, but holy crap, let's look at this. I'm a master something, which no one understands, and I was identified as excellent, so I could become a master something level 2. So, hey, yay for leveling up. I don't know what level 1 and level 2 mean, and so I can't understand you. And I'm sorry, I know I'm ranting at you, and you were kind enough to send your resume in to let me do that. So I appreciate that, and I hope you feel as good about it as Think Pad Thai did when I ranted about her resume. But you got to make it so I can read it. And I am glad that Master Resilience Trainer leveled up. That's always good, particularly with a gaming audience. But make it so I can understand it. And I'm curious, we'll do a check Awesome Dave, 20 years in the military. Do you know what a master resilience trainer is and what the difference between level 1 and level 2 is? Because I know you're listening, so you can tell us in chat. All right, let's keep helping. There's some things in here that you just got to watch your writing. They're kind of oxymorons. I know what you mean here, but traveled offsite to deliver on-site training, or off-site and on-site at the same time. That's impressive. Obviously, what you mean here is traveled from headquarters to the customer site to deliver the training. I just make it a little more clear. Look at every word on your resume. It's a representation of your life. And give the proof of accomplishments if you can. What else do we have here? We talked about team steps earlier and how I don't know what it is, and you have to explain acronyms. We'll keep going. Suicide prevention, that's cool. The interesting thing here is way down in this resume, you get to the strongest thing I've seen in it. Buried in here near the bottom, trainer managed a budget of $450 million. So, wow. Like, I would try, in all this stuff you have up top, you don't have budget management. And someone who, if you really did this, really owned a budget of $450 million, you're amazing. But that's way at the bottom. And there's all this really powerful stuff in here. Developed and designed the training plan and layout of a 44-bed worldwide deployment-ready, this could use some commas or punctuation somewhere, deployment-ready combat support hospital. Holy frick, you built MASH. That's incredible. You built MASH on a $500 million budget. I like to round up, but don't get caught doing it. That's amazing. How do you convey that? How do you get that up at the top of your resume? Because in the business world, that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that business impact and business ability. So here it says you don't apply. So Kevin says, so you don't necessarily have to put everything in chronological order. You can put the hard-hitting stuff up top. Well, you can if you're doing a skills summary. Like this person chose to put in their top skills. So budget management, parentheses, 450 million, fits in one of these little spaces. There is no rule except truth and that gets you the job. Now, there are standard expectations. I would not put my experience in random order. But remember, trainer here spent 10 lines up top talking about all sorts of stuff and can put anything he wants in here because there's no rules on this intro section. And didn't put that in. Yeah, highlight your strongest, most interesting skills. Now, I think partly maybe trainer didn't do that because budgeting isn't what trainer wants to do. Trainer wants a job in training. Still, it's super impactful. So I would put the training stuff up there. All right, so we've gone through this resume. It's another resume that's strong. Transition from the military, there's a lot of places that will help you. The thing that was weird for me is trainer doesn't call out much about the nurse experience he has, which seems powerful, a diploma in nursing. Like, I felt like, where's the nurse in here anywhere? And I see the medical experience is being used, but I was hoping for more of a tie-in to the education. That's my opinion, maybe. I'm not an expert in what you do. What I do like is action words. We have trained. Maintained isn't as strong of a word, but you're maintaining a completion rate. I would say something better like drove or insured. Power words. Let's see. We got some more. Yeah. So the suggestions from Kevin in chat are right ways I'd represent this. All right. We're going to keep moving because we've done a lot. Let's check questions, see if anything's been upvoted. We got no questions above 4 votes right now. So for people who haven't heard it, if you want to vote up questions, what you're going to need to do is go to the extension and ask what you want, and we'll come back to questions that get a lot of upvotes. Since it's been a long show and we got more resumes, we're going to keep rolling. All right. Here we go to a friend of mine, Steve Day. Steve Day might be in chat. He'll certainly watch this later. He's a longtime subscriber to the stream. I don't know if he could make it tonight, but I'm glad he's here. And there he is. Holla. All right. He goes by Akbla. So, Steve, you're a good friend of mine. You play hockey, and I know you like feedback. So here we go. All right. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to use Steve's resume to highlight a point some people face. And not everybody on this stream is going to face it, but Steve has to make a choice, and I'm only showing one copy of his resume. And if we go to the bottom, just to bring this topic up right away, in some copies of his resume, he just omits this whole section. And why does he omit, delete, get rid of this whole section? And somebody says, should we block out personal info? No, he was comfortable with it being shared in this case. So he figures if someone sees the stream, it's that much more chance they'll hire him. So he's good with it, but thank you for asking. He chops out this whole section because, like me, in my case with the white hair, what this says going back to 1999 is it says Steve's older. So if he chops this out, he looks younger. Specifically, he looks a whole decade younger. He gets 10 years younger by deleting this experience, and that's a trade-off. Okay. Oh, here's something interesting. He's Steve Day on this page, and he's Stephen Day there. I didn't notice that before, but pick one. Stephen Day at Steve Day. Didn't notice that, but I'd pick one, Steve. Next thing. Steve recently took a shot, and God bless him for doing this, at building a studio on Twitch. And he tried to start a cooking show. There's a million reasons that didn't end up working out. But he had this experience. He took a shot at it. He tried starting his own company. And I thought it was a fantastic idea that just didn't quite get off the ground. But now he wants to work as a product manager. And he's interviewing for product manager jobs. And I think, Steve, looking at this, I have a lot of ideas on how you can change your resume to have more impact. So this is going to be worth it for you. I'm glad you're here. First, I advised somebody else on this recently. You're the founder. That means no one is going to change. There's no one who's going to contradict you about what you did. So without lying, you can give yourself extra titles that support your job. So I would immediately change this to founder and chief product officer, because people are used to seeing resumes where founders have multiple roles that say co-founder and CTO, founder and chief product officer, co-founder and head of sales. There's also CEO and acting CTO. You can use all kinds of stuff. The point is, make the call out that you did product manager work in this role. And then I would try and call out a little bit what part was, this is the product manager part. And I think in each of these roles, it might make sense to use bullets and a double indent of what you did that was product management related and what you did that was not. And I wouldn't say not product management. I would say additional responsibilities. So I would say product management, and I try and figure out 2 bullets to say under it. And I think it's these 2 bullets. So product management, colon, indent, these 2 bullets. Founder responsibilities, colon, these 2 bullets. Now suddenly we're going to build a theme of this in your resume, because we're going to go down here and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take these 2 bullets and put them in a product manager section. And we're going to take the rest of it and say additional responsibilities or poker room operation responsibilities. But you're cutting apart what you did as a product manager and what you did elsewise. And that covers the fact you were working in strange jobs. Because for everybody who hasn't seen it, and Rex, I appreciate how enthusiastic you are. It's now after 6 a.m. in Hamburg, Germany, where the Rex 243 is watching. So God bless him. He's pulling an all-nighter to see the stream. Look, this resume can be kick-ass much better, but it's got challenges. Steve is struggling to find the right job because his history has a lot of gaps and challenges. There's no consistent story. He founded his own studio. He was working at Pokerstars on the Isle of Man. I'm not sure where that is, and it sounds maybe like, I do actually know where the Isle of Man is, but most people probably don't or may not. And working at Pokerstars sounds a little skeevy. So you got to overcome those things. And I think by formatting the product manager part, you start to pop out your relevant experience. The rest of this I like. He's got clear bullets. He's got power words. He created, he owned, he designed, he led, he contributed. Everything here is strong. And I think this should be pulled up into the PM section. So I'd reorder this and pop it up. Make these two top bullets plus this one all about PM. Things you did as a PM, product manager. We'll keep going. But you need to tell a common story, and you can do this. See, again, you can format this into product management and non-product management work. And now we're 3 jobs deep where you can call these 2 things product management, and you can call the rest of it whatever you need to. By the way, I might shorten this somehow. Manager of VIP, team online, ring games, and sit and go tournaments. That's inside baseball, like the team steps master resilience trainer. It means a lot to poker players maybe, and to gamblers. That's not your audience, and so I'd figure out something else to say. Last thing Steve has to overcome, and I know he didn't finish a college degree. You might as well, in a way, just say I didn't go to college because there's no education mentioned anywhere on here. I recognize that's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I would think about, is there anything you want to say about your education or not? If you drop all of this, you're good. Let's see. Read job titles. Director of Poker Room Operations is misleading as well. I'm not trying to get you to lie. I guess I'm looking for a way to simplify it. I'm not a fan of lying, but I am trying to figure out how can you pull these down. And this one just struck me as really long and really opaque. Is there any shorter thing you can call that? If there isn't, it's not the end of the world. I think the winning advice here is to break it up into PM sections. And then the other thing I wish I had on your PM stuff is what was the impact of what you did. This one generates $1 billion in revenue. That's incredible. What did this one do? What did some of these others accomplish? So like when you own this roadmap, what was the result? I'm looking for result. Maybe you think the result is here, like contributed to study market share increase. Then I'd put it with the PM stuff. I'd put it as the conclusion of what you did. Yeah, and someone here suggests management of 4 projects at Pokerstars. Yeah, management of 4 teams at Pokerstars, and you can list them in small font later. All right. We're going to jump back over to questions. Steve, I do think, though, if you call out that PM experience, you're going to be way better off. Jumping over to questions. All right, we got one with 10. So we'll let the mods pop that up. And the question is, in your experience section, how should you present multiple positions held at a single employer over several years, promoted from intern, etc.? Well, I think the last resume I have Nope, it's not going to get to that. Might have been one of the earlier ones. Um, so this is a good question. I think the way Steve does it is the tradition. However, there is one thing missing, and I'll flip back to his resume and point it out. I would list his total time at Pokerstars here to make it clear he was promoted and that these are sub positions, particularly because it spans multiple pages. I would say Pokerstars 2009 to 2015, and then it becomes clear that this is a role at Pokerstars because it's not the same period. And so I get the idea. He has Pokerstars continued, so he's making the point to the person who asked the question and all of you who voted for it. This is how it's done. It shows his track record of progression. You listed oldest first. It's great. It shows he is VIP program manager, then head of the VIP program, then manager of the VIP program, and more. I would at least say head here. And then he was director, and so it shows progression. This is exactly how I would do it. So let's see. He says, I have a draft like that, but the automated resume scanners hate it. Oh, well, I don't know. Yeah, automated resume scanners. You've told me, Steve, that you only get jobs or interviews when you go in through a reference. So if that's true, why are you optimizing for automated resume scanners that apparently don't work worth a crap for you? And if double indent's the wrong text solution, do it another way. So yeah, your resume is pretty much worthless. Well, it's not completely worthless. People are going to read it when prepping for your interview, and they're going to read it in deciding whether or not to bring you in off of that reference. So you care about the resume anyways if you get the interview. The resume still, I look at every interview I do, I look through the resume and decide what I'm going to ask the person. So you want PM to jump out in your resume. I think that is a worthwhile investment. All right, we got one to go, and then we'll wind up the show. We'll take any other questions that get popped up right after this. And we got another cover letter. And I said when we opened up the show that the first cover letter, which belonged to ThinkPad Thai, who we called China, and her handle here is ThinkPad Thai, was long. And it was very long. So this is from SG. And SG's been on the show before. But SG here is a longtime fan. It's still pretty long. It's not as long. And this is a complete no-no, by the way. You've got a typo in it. And so, look, you got to have, we're going to see on SG's resume, right? SG is not a native speaker of English. And so same advice I gave other non-native speakers, make sure you have a native speaker read through it and correct everything. Now this, maybe you type this up quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on cover letters. There's a good and a bad here. It's shorter than the earlier example, and ThinkPad Thai says progress. That's right, 50% progress here. It's still much too long. This is the infamous wall of text again. It's telling your life story. It's telling your life story with typos. This is a negative for you. You hope no one reads this as it is. Even if it didn't have the typos, though, you've got to focus on the one or two things about why you're really interested. In this case, you talk about coming to Amazon. You're very focused on why Amazon, why it's a fit, and what interests you, and what you hope from it. I appreciate the folks. This is an awesome stream. I appreciate all of you in chat who've stuck with us for an hour and a half. We've had a great show tonight, and we're going to roll through this one and celebrate some more and call it a night. So look, cover letters. Someone asked earlier if they matter. I don't think they do. But if you're going to do one, short and to the point. let's move on to the resume, SG's resume here. All right. This is one of the best resumes. It's got a lot of positive things about it. It's got some things, though, to improve, but it is good. It's one page. It's clear. It's short bullets. It's got the technology